Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Slone. I am an assistant professor at the School of Art at the University of Arkansas in the United States, and I teach graphic design. I'm also a poster designer. But I'm here today to review the work of Bed in a Box that the students at Pradita University have been working on. I would first like to begin by thanking my good friend Erwan Harnoko and Vera Valina as well. I would like to thank the students, the visual communication students at Pradita University in the design department for their work on this project. I saw a lot of good work and I was really impressed with the results. I thought there was a good amount of conceptual thinking in the projects. I thought that the students really considered the audience, and I thought there was an interesting variety of visual solutions that were given. So I wanted just to first say that I ended up choosing 3 to speak on today, but it was a tough decision and there were a lot of really good solutions. So I'd like to begin with option number 1, and this one is by Beatrice. I thought this was a really smart solution to use the actual bed in the typographic treatment. I thought it was a simple solution. I thought it was very clever. I liked how the designer used the actual letter forms of the V and the D to form bed. I thought the pillow was an interesting touch, especially that it was done with a secondary color. And I thought the hierarchy of type was nice. It immediately says bed. In a box is smaller, and there's just a really nice structure to it. So a couple of things that I think could help. I sort of wondered if this spacing of the horizontal bed could be up just a little bit. And I also wanted to make sure that the horizontal line for the bed is the same weight as the letter forms, the same thickness. But really that's it for this particular solution. Now I did notice further on that it looked like the rounded corners of the pillow were different here than in subsequent options, so that's just something to take into consideration. But something to maybe potentially clean up would be that. I thought the color palette was really great. Read well, it's a nice contrast, and I think, just flipping through the standards manual here, I think the rounded terminals of the sans serif typography work well. Comfort or bold is a great choice, and I really thought the pattern was interesting. One thing that I thought might be interesting is expanding the pattern a little bit more into different shapes. So potentially, instead of just the squares, you could use like the pillows, or maybe more horizontal pieces to sort of reinforce the bed objects. But overall, I thought it was a really nice and smart type solution. So that was my first option that I chose. The second option that I chose, was from Gita. Much different idea. I think using a mascot. I thought using the sloth was really cute and memorable and clever, and I think it has a very welcoming presence. I really thought the simplicity of the illustration was nice. I thought it was minimal, took into consideration the audience. I thought the typography of the name here was simple. I liked how bed and box were larger. It really reinforced the name. I thought it was a really interesting solution. Let me just kind of go through this. The one thing that I think from a critique standpoint that might help is I do wonder if some of the details of the sloth are a little thin or a little light. When this is scaled down to smaller sizes, you might lose some of the eyes or the claws. So I think just a little bit of simplification might really help. But I thought the type was nice. I'm gonna just go through this. I prefer it on a white background as opposed to white out of a solid background. I think it reads better. But I love this idea of the sloth face sort of popping up at unexpected moments. I think it gives it a nice sort of refreshing surprise throughout. And then I thought the super graphic, I think this was about the tree branch pattern was really smart, really, really nice. I particularly really like how this works here in the super graphic with the face. This is kind of what I'm talking about in terms of simplicity. I wonder if just the illustration would be, it'd even be nice to see the logo type with just the face as sort of a secondary, mark. But again, moving through, I thought this looked really great in terms of like strategy and setup. Again, like very simple, very minimal, feels like it's appropriate to the audience. So overall, a really, really nice job, and it has a lot of potential. It could be kind of fun to have different expressions of the sloth. So instead of maybe not always smiling in the corner, it could be laughing or showing, eyes closed or popping up from different areas. That could be a nice sort of extension to use, so it's not just the same thing through and through. But overall, really interesting and fun solution. Drum roll, number 3. Alineo was the last one that I'd like to speak to, and I thought this was, again, a great variety of options all around, but I thought this one was really interesting. I love the idea of the heart and the clouds as sort of a metaphor for, I think the designer talked about like romance and comfort and peace, but I think it really like speaks to the idea that, like sleeping and being in your own bed is your own comfort zone. And why not like really reinforce this idea, this love of sleep? So I just thought that the idea was really powerful. The brand story was really compelling. I thought that the drawing, the icon itself was really simple and clean and memorable. A couple critiques, I think the I and the A could be lowercase. Right now, that I sort of reads like an L, like a lowercase L. So I think either spacing it out, just bed in a box with a lowercase I, a lowercase A could help. Or stacking it, bed in a box in 3 lines might be another way to sort of consider it. Let's see, moving through here, so I thought the color palette was strong. Really liked how this worked across the board in terms of it being sort of white and then lighter colors. It seemed like there was a good amount of rounded sans serif typography across the board with everyone, so I thought that was appropriate, especially for this one with clouds. Just see real quick. Yeah. One thing also to sort of consider is I wonder if in some of the highlights of the clouds, if these were rounded. So sometimes these are sort of pointed or cut off. I think this sort of round concept as it applies to the typography and the clouds and the heart itself. So maybe think about the terminals being rounded across the board could help. Back out again real quick. But yeah, a very straightforward, very clean, very logo-forward idea. But again, a really interesting solution and one that I thought was very successful. So those are the 3 that I chose. Again, this was a tough decision, and there were a lot of really, really great options. In fact, I thought everyone did a fantastic job in communicating the essence of this brand and landing on visual solutions that were both compelling and appropriate for the audience. So a round of applause to you all. I thought you did a fantastic job. I'm really excited to see where you go as designers when you become professional designers, because as a designer myself who has been designing brands for a number of years, I just think this project is one that is a really great sort of warm-up to real-life client work, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, I wanted to thank Erwan for inviting me to participate, and to all the students in the Visual Communication Design Department at Pradita University, thank you so much. Again, my name is Ryan Slone. Let's please stay in touch. If you want to talk to me about this further, I would love to do that. So I think I will end it here, but thank you so much.